What's up, Vikings Nation? Now, the Dalvin Cook situation is still a very ongoing process. We don't really know what's going to happen. Are we going to trade him? Are we going to cut him? Are we going to find a way to maybe restructure his deal to keep him in Minnesota for at least this season and then let him test free agency next year? We're really unsure of what's going to happen. And we talked about this briefly last week of the possibility of that we'd prefer to trade him because we would save $11 million on the salary cap, and then we'd only have like $3 million or something like that in dead money. If we cut him, we'd only save about $9 million in the cap, and then have about 5.3 or something like that $1 million in dead cap. So obviously, you'd like to prefer to trade him, save a little bit more money and stuff like that. That's just a logical thing. But however, we really don't know what the situation is going to, or how this situation is going to pan out, okay? We really have no idea. There's been no word of, any trade or any cut. And you'd expect that if there was a trade that was going to happen, it probably already would have happened, unless teams are kind of holding out to see if they can find a way to, clear some money for Dalvin, or maybe see if Dalvin is willing to take a little bit of a pay cut, trying to get the ins and outs from our Vikings, owners, our GM Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and stuff like that. But we have a report that came out from Ari Mirov and actually others around the league that Cook was almost traded. Almost traded. This is per Ari Mirov, where he said the Vikings and Dolphins nearly completed a trade in March that would have sent running back Dalvin Cook to Miami per Albert Breer. Miami added to their backfield a month later using a third-round pick on Texas A&M's Devon Achane. Cook's future in Minnesota remains unclear at this point. We really have no movement on this front. We don't really know, but it's kind of interesting that Miami was going to trade, or there was a trade probably in place for Dalvin Cook, but that never happened. Now, Miami is still a real destination for Dalvin Cook because per JPA Football or the Miami Herald here, it says rumors Dalvin Cook to the Miami Dolphins is a real possibility if Minnesota decides to release the star running back. That's per the Miami Herald or whatever. So him to Miami could still happen, even though they have 5 or 6 running backs on their depth chart and stuff like that. Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr., and others alike there, especially with adding Devon Achane there. So you really don't know if Miami's a logical spot for him, even though that is where Dalvin Cook is from. So it would make sense in that aspect because he loves Miami and stuff like that. He decided not to join the University of Miami Hurricanes, went to Florida, yada, yada, yada. But the Buffalo Bills are another possibility. Go pair up with his brother James Cook, and the Bills have needed a running back for, the past couple seasons. I've really been against the whole Devin Singletary thing, and Josh Allen needs to kind of take some miles off his legs a little bit, keep him in the pocket, keep him upright, keep him safe and stuff like that. So the Dalvin Cook situation is still unfolding. Really unsure what's going to happen. If it were me, if I was the Vikings, obviously I'd prefer to trade him. But the real possibility of what's going to happen with Dalvin Cook, in my opinion, is you got to cut him. You got to cut him. That's probably option one because you want to save some money. You're only going to save $9 million, have $5 in dead cap, but that adds a little bit more money to our salary cap so we can, sign these big time extensions and stuff like that. The other possibility that I'm hoping could happen just for one more season is that Dalvin Cook and the Vikings finally reach a little bit of agreement in a restructured, last year of his contract, kind of save some money on our end, give him the, the ability to kind of seek a bigger contract for next year when he tests free agency and stuff like that. But I mean, it doesn't really make sense, right? Because the Vikings removed him from our banner on Twitter. Doesn't really mean anything. Put Alexander Madison there and stuff like that. So signs are pointing towards the Vikings kind of getting rid of Dalvin Cook and moving forward with that whole situation. But as it currently sits right now, there's been no movement on Dalvin Cook. I'm sure the Vikings are working over some things. You guys can let me know in the comments what you think we should do with Dalvin Cook. Do we trade him? Do we cut him? Do we revise his contract a little bit? What's the case? Let me know in the comments. Drop a like. And hey, we're almost to 1,000 subs. You can help me reach that goal by subscribing right now for endless amounts of Vikings content. I'm your host, Trey Wicks. And guess what? Skol Vikes.